now, your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Friends. Here's the news of the week. AEW is supposedly close to announcing a new Saturday night show called AEW Collision. Supposedly, this could be the big return for CM Punk. And finally, the WWE Draft is set to start Friday, April 28th, and every superstar will be on the table. Good evening and good night. I almost forgot that part. Jeff, how are you, sir?
What's up, brother? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Feeling damn good.
You got any things to tell the people? What have you been working on? Where you been? What are you doing? What secrets you got?
I have an announcement to make, ladies and gentlemen. I posted this on Instagram, but I am a co-owner in the Premier Streaming Network. It is an app. You can just go to your app store and download it, and you can see basically every single independent wrestling promotion. Not everyone. We're working on getting everyone, but that's the goal, is independent wrestling and bringing it to people more easily, giving you a history on the wrestlers you like with more accessibility. You can literally, if you like Sami Zayn, you can click on El Generico and watch every single one of his indie matches from all of the promotions that we have. We're not just going to be featuring wrestling, but we'll be doing some deep dives into some of these matches, profiles on some of the wrestlers, and then eventually some other surprises as well. But I'm really proud of this. This is a huge education for me in independent wrestling and being an independent promoter, which I have zero experience. I can't wait to contribute to this and to learn from these indie promoters along the way as well. And I'm really, really excited. So check it out, Premier Streaming Network. You can get it on your iPhone, your iPad, whatever you have. Just go to the App Store, check it out. Thank you for the time, Mr. Jeff Dye. What's going down?
Well, I was hoping you'd give us some tea, as they call it, as the young people call it, some tea or gossip about any Star Wars stuff coming up. You got any Star Wars stuff coming up?
No, bro. Nor will I ever.
Never?
I couldn't be more done with Star Wars, I assure you.
Okay, fair enough. I just think it'd be quite a hell of a cameo. You know, you get a whole thing, you know?
It'll be someone who looks like me. They can ask my boy Chris Klein.
There you go.
He's a little taller, a little bit broader.
Well, the cartoon character looked just like you anyways. They drew it after you.
Oh, yeah. Totally looked just like. I've always had that sweet soul patch on the bottom. Sir, I had a very interesting conversation with one of my wrestling friends.
Oh, nice.
And I don't want to say his name because I think he may have figured out the Cody Rhodes story. And I don't want to get him any heat, right? So we're going to talk Monday Night Raw. And I'd love to start with the Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and the general manager Adam Pearce segment. Unless there's something that you have to jump in.
No, go ahead. Let's launch in. Let's do it. Let's go.
So you know how you have like you have friends, you have wrestling friends, you have comedian friends, you have like actor, right? Like everyone we for whatever reason we put our friends in different cubicles or make them work on different floors of our emotional corporation. And the fourth floor doesn't hang with the fifth floor that much unless it's a birthday or a Christmas party, right?
Different circles.
So one of my wrestling friends is one of Sarah's actor friends. And this dude loves wrestling the way you love wrestling, right? There isn't really a bad match. There's just matches he didn't love as much as the other ones, right? Like he has a very positive outlook. But on top of that, he's a historian of wrestling. He knows more about the history of wrestling than you and I combined, more than Alex. God love you, Alex, our awesome producer. But this dude knows his stuff, right? So he calls me up. He says, "Hey man, do you have some time to talk nonsense?" I say, "Yeah." That's what we say when we're going to talk wrestling. You want to talk nonsense. And I go, "Why? What you got, man?" And he goes, "First of all, congratulations on your Premier Streaming Network." I said, "Thank you very much, sir." He goes, "Let's talk Cody Rhodes." I say, "Okay." He goes, "What if they're redoing?" And he goes, "Well, let me back up. You know he wouldn't just go in to a contract to get squashed at WrestleMania." I said, "Yeah, but Vince might have done something last minute." He goes, "Don't interrupt." I said,
wow, okay.
He says, "You know how Triple H is a historian of wrestling. He knows all these old guys' stories. He knows all this. He's redone a lot of them since he took over creative. said, yeah. He said, what if they're redoing the Dusty Rhodes Hard Times story, but with Cody this time around? And it's going to take the full year of hard times of Brock. He thinks Brock's going to beat him at Backlash and knock Cody down till he's on hard times, so that Cody has to build himself back up to then win the title at WrestleMania coming up. And that we all had it wrong on this buildup. Like that was going to be the start of the hard times story. And then the promos are going to start to reflect that a little more. Like, remember, like Magnum TA beat his ass. Like Arn came in and beat, like everyone started beating his ass. Dusty, I mean, before he made his way back. And he pitched it so much better than I just did. And was, because it's his idea, right? So all of a sudden I was like, I'm believing it. I'm like, wait, there's no way. They thought a year in advance. Holy crap, they thought a year in advance. And I ended up loving the story and committing to it. What do you think? I almost said his name. What do you think of my man's story that he told?
Well, one, I don't know why he wouldn't want his name mentioned. You know, that's nice. You're giving him a lot of credit.
I don't want to catch him heat with the company. They get so sensitive, man. They get so sensitive.
Yeah.
Like if someone gets something right, then all of a sudden they can't get tickets.
Interesting. Yeah, good to keep his name a secret. I'm not that familiar with the hard times, so fill me in, since I don't know, which means maybe a lot of our viewers don't know what the hard times storyline was. I'm guessing that he just kept getting buried.
So Dusty was chasing Rick's championship, right? Okay. Back in the 80s, I guess it was, early 80s. And he couldn't climb the mountain because people kept killing him along the way. And it took forever for him to finally get, and even when he got the match, he lost the first time. He might have lost the second time too. But it led to this promo called Hard Times, right? And I wish I had the promo memorized, but it's Dusty at his finest, talking hard times, baby. I'm just 265 pounds of blue-eyed soul. Like it was him at his like absolute most money ever. And then he finally gets back to the mountaintop the way they would make Ray run up the mountain a million times before he could do it, or Shawn Michaels, who actually was the only small guy who could stay at the top, right? So he's pitching me this, and I'm like, I'll be damned, because he for sure met with Hunter, not Vince, when he made his return. They for sure sat down and spoke. Cody knows that story better than anyone because it was his dad's, and Hunter knows it probably second to Cody, except maybe Jim Cornette, like, because they're historians of the game and know every single angle that's ever been worked. So that's what he pitched me. I think it might be dead on, which means more bad news for Cody Rhodes coming up in Puerto Rico.
But you're going to love that story so much that you now will be in this weird thing. We love Cody Rhodes, and we're going to want to see him lose for the year. You know, we're like,
from grace.
Yeah, he lost again because I'm rooting for him.
Screw you.
Yeah, like they didn't know they were rooting for Dusty's hard times. They didn't know that they liked the hard times. They felt like, he's getting screwed again, you know? That's
now I'm going to love the hard times.
Me too. Yeah, we can enjoy the hard times knowing there's hope at the end, that the company's not just burying Cody for no reason at all. Oh, I love that. That's very exciting. That's the kind of that's the time of wrestling that I don't know much about. Like I know, you know, I think of it like as pictures in magazines and stuff. Like I guess now with the internet, I could go back and watch all that stuff if I wanted.
These are the matches that I would watch in Puerto Rico with my grandma on television, and she had the right cable where we live. In New Mexico, I wasn't getting those like NWA and stuff like that. It wasn't coming my way. Or even like World WCCW, I think World Class Championship Wrestling was another one back in the day that New Mexico didn't get. But in Puerto Rico, my grandma had a satellite, so she had everything,
that's
right?
Awesome.
And because she was the mom of Freddie Prinze, she only paid $1 a year on property tax, which was so gangster. So thanks, Puerto Rico. I hope you have an awesome pay-per-view. Thanks for looking out for my grandma forever. But yeah, man, we would watch all those old Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Oh, dude, their matches were like some of my favorite to this day. Like they're up there with anything Kurt Angle did. You know what I mean? And I love Kurt Angle matches. I think his He may not be my favorite wrestler of all time, but his matches are my favorite matches of all time. Like him and Eddie Guerrero, forget about it. And that's the way I felt about watching like Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat back in the day, man. It was just, they're magic wrestlers. We should do a watch along.
Hell yeah.
Trish Stratus.
Yes.
Moving along. Confirmed everything this podcast said about her when we talked about our goats. Only we said it in a very nice way. And she said it in a very mean way, I thought. In a way that wasn't very appreciative of all the love that she's received. Wasn't appreciative of the young women that she's been wrestling with now. Came off a little insecure about the younger generation. And was very heelish, mean, and then hurt the feelings of many. And still made a few eyes sparkle.
No, she's beautiful, but people in Canada were pissed.
They were pissed, and they made her do it in Canada, her own country. She had to turn on. America, you're still allowed to love her. But the Great North, no. It's a lot of hate, man. Do you still love Trish Stratus? I thought her promos are better now than they were when she was in her heyday, man.
Yeah, she's great. She's still got it. Like you just said, I think it's better. Also, I can't go one sentence without going, God, she's hot.
Who's the hottest chick and the hottest dude ever in wrestling?
I know Alex, our producer, he loves Doudrop, but I am a big fan of Trish Stratus and our girl Zelina Vega, dude. How about Zelina Vega? She makes the top of the charts.
She certainly does, Jeff. Everyone has their own favorites, including our producer.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the hottest dude?
Finn
Ravishing
Balor,
Rick
maybe?
Rude? Oh, is Finn sexier? Yeah, he's sexier than
Well, I don't
Ravishing
know. He's
Rick.
got that ravishing Rick Rude body of modern times.
No one has the Ravishing Rick Rude body. His body's all right. It's not Ravishing Rick Rude. He doesn't have the hip movement that Rick Rude had.
Or the chest hair.
He doesn't get a smooch. He doesn't get a smooch every time he comes out. He doesn't have the Magnum PI mustache or chest hair.
I'm trying to think best looking. My type of fella would be a Wardlow. You know, like he's like a big, strong, cool looking guy. Looks like someone drew him on a comic book cover.
He's man crushable for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably, but it's tough, you know. Zelina Vega's up there, but they're totally different type of ladies.
That might be the closest. And that's not just because she's an upcoming guest on our show. Look forward for you guys seeing our first guest this season, Zelina Vega, Miss Tia Trinidad. Also Puerto Rican, gonna wrestle Rhea Ripley at Backlash in Puerto Rico in front of her people, dude. She has to go through that monster in front of her. Talk about making you lose in your own town.
Hard times.
We love you, Zelina, but you need
Vega.
backup. You need like 6 people to go in there with you.
Well, and also, that's the thing. Did you think that this match was unusual? Because Rhea just got the thing.
I thought that they would have mentioned in the Adam Pearce segment backstage with her that she beat her back in NXT. I thought that would have been part of her pitch, but I'm guessing the powers that be didn't want to mention Rhea losing ever, right? Because she's their one right now, for sure. With Charlotte Flair taking a break and hanging out with her man, like she's their one. So they're building her to be great. Zelina's going to go in there and make her look fantastic and can lucha it up enough to get herself over at the same time. The crowd's going to be so friggin' hyped. Her cosplay that her wardrobe that she comes out in, the crowd, it's going to be full on like old school Puerto Rico. I guarantee you, like Hector Macho Camacho, the boxer, used to come out in like full headdress, everything. I guarantee you she's going to come out like that. If she doesn't, it's a big time fumble, but there's no way. She's a cosplayer, so she's got something planned already. That match is going to be crazy because the crowd's going to go so friggin' bananas.
How do you think that match finishes? I mean, we know, like, do you know more about the writing process? Do you make a wrestler cheat to beat her? You know, she's going to be so over.
No, Rhea's going to win. Rhea's going to win straight up. She might do something a little dirty, but the finisher and the pin will be straight up. Do you want to talk any more Monday Night Raw, or do you want to jump to AEW? None of the matches really stood out for me.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you said that because I think I was wrong in an assessment I made of the 4 pillars. I put Jack Perry above Sammy Guevara, and I think I was wrong on that. I think Jack Perry's better backstage than Darby and Sammy, but in the ring, Sammy is the one on the in-ring promos. This opening segment, and they're doing this pillar story the right way so far. I'm interested in it. I like it. I respect what they're doing, or at least trying to do. They've taken a couple big swings. Maybe not both of them were home runs, but they're still taking big swings, and I like that. Sammy Guevara chewed these two men up and spit them out. Darby and Jack could not hang with this kid on the mic for not even 60 seconds, man. And he, to the point where I was like, holy crap, was I wrong? Like, it was the first thought in my head. I just thought he was the star out of the three of them in this segment, while still giving them the opportunities to get themselves over at the same time. He outshined both these guys. I think the company knows it. I think he's going to be the one to face MJF when this is all said and done. Although a triple threat would be cool. I don't think a fatal four-way would be that cool unless MJF really did something shady and pissed off Tony Khan, and then Tony's like, haha, fatal four-way. But I don't see that happening. I think Sammy's going to be the one, and he's not going to beat Max, but he'll end up getting the next championship just below that, whatever that may be. What did you think of this segment?
I don't know if I'm losing interest in AEW lately or something, but it just all felt bland to me.
Why?
I don't know.
Sammy didn't grab you, dude?
No, not really. And I don't know why. It might have been just my mood or something, but I was just sitting there going, I've never been fully over with Jack Perry. I know he's your boy and he's your boy's boy, but I don't know. I just doesn't do much for me, but I liked the show, but for this opening thing, I was like,
I feel you. You all got to do better. You can't just appease the hardcore.
Yeah.
You can't just appease the hardcore.
Too inside baseball.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not going to make you spend time talking about something you didn't love. Let me bring up something I did love, though.
I like MJF coming out and interrupting. I like that. I'm always going to like MJF.
That's cheating.
That's what I'm saying. You've infused a thing I like into a boring thing to me.
I like the part where George Clooney was in the movie. Yeah,
exactly.
I got it.
It's exactly
so do I. He's super cool. All right. Well, I want to get to my match of the week then.
Match of the week.
Because my match of the week was friggin' Jay White from Australia, New Japan Pro Wrestling, was on one of the, I think he was on the pay-per-view where CM Punk ate the muffins and wrestled that night and was like really playing the heel well. Now he's a full-time AEW roster member and they gave him Commander. You knew Commander was going to lose because you can't have a guy come in hot and then lose right away. That just kills him. And Jay White should win anyway. He's the bigger star of the two. And these two beat the hell out of each other. And Jay White saved what looked like 2 or 3 different spots that were, high risk. He could fall and get hurt. And Jay White's like, nah, dog, I got you. It was crazy to watch. He was so smooth with it. And there were so many like false big stunts from Commander where you think he's going to do his big tightrope walk and jump off. And I think they made him wait till like third time till he got it off, which is so 80s. I love that. But this was my match of the week, man. I like this Jay White guy a lot. I'm interested to see where they go with him. I would love to see him take on Wardlow and the small guy versus the big guy and have Jay White just stitch him. And all of a sudden he becomes your dominant heel. I like heel champions more. Your dominant heel champion that your baby faces have to chase. A lot like MJF. So maybe that's why you don't do my idea. But that's my idea for him. And I really hope they put a rocket ship under this dude's ass because I love it.
That's funny to say that because my match of the week was Wardlow. Winning
love the big guys.
I love the Wardlow, dude. He's my guy and he won. I'm so excited about it. Also, just the way it happened. The whole match was just like a powerhouse, big guy stuff, which I like. I felt like they were shooting for the stars a little bit. Yeah, just doing the power, strong guy stuff. But I will say, do you think Goldberg, Wardlow, would you care for that?
Oh God, please don't. No.
Wardlow.
Why are Goldberg. You're pumping your arms in victory? No.
Wardlow versus Goldberg. and Wardlow buries his ass to put him into retirement for the rest of rest of wrestling history.
I'm all of a sudden completely for this genius idea. I'm all in.
Goldberg shakes his hand like, you're the new big guy, you know?
That's right. I'll never wrestle again. I promise, Freddie. And then he'll just leave. My runner-up for match of the week, however, and the only reason it wasn't is because as much as I love MJF, I hated the finish so much. I just want to see these guys work. But it was Sammy Guevara versus Jack Perry. And this match was friggin' awesome. As soon as the bell rings, Jack Perry's just like, fuck you, bow, and just kicks him right in the fucking chest and just throws him out of the ring and starts whipping his ass for like the first 2 minutes. He was not having it. He's like, you killed me in that promo. You looked like the bigger star. I'm going to kick the shit out of you for the first 2 minutes of this match. And then Sammy Guevara was like, all right, we're going to beat each other's ass. Fine, I'm going to Spanish fly you not just off the top, but off the apron onto the friggin' floor. This match, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the finish, it would have been my match of the month. These guys beat each other's ass for like 25 minutes. And
quickly, too. Like, it happens, there was a ton of action in such a small amount of time in the beginning. Like, it was like confusingly action-packed.
Yeah, it's like a full-on fight, like just whipping asses before anybody got into some sort of choreography.
I even remember thinking, like, when I was watching it, like, how did they come up with all this? Like, how do you remember all of the stuff that they jam-packed into that match? Like, in the back, like, I would have to have, like, notes or something. I don't know, like, I have to have somebody give me signals on what's next. It was insane.
I feel like I've seen guys go over notes for matches before, like they have it like scripted out, like spot by spot. And I feel like when I worked there, I saw guys doing that.
A little set list or something. Because I mean, it's
just to make sure they have everything down.
Did they ever do the same match like on a dark show that they would do? Yeah,
that's where they get it. That's where they hone it. That's where they get it down. You know what I mean? Smart. Yeah, they're probably out there going Denver, and they're like, okay, imagine Denver.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like. Because I've seen the house shows and then seen it translate over to the television show. That's where they work out their favorite spots that get cut because they're too dangerous. Are always on the house shows. That's why it's more valuable for the fan to go to a house show than the television, unless you really, really want to be on TV. The matches are longer. There's not as many silly breaks with nonsense promos. You still get some promotional stuff in there, but there's no commercials, so you don't have to worry about the filler stuff. So each match gets like an extra 4 minutes, which is awesome. They're more fan interactive. The crowd will be like, give us another one. And the wrestler will be like, you want another one? You got it. Wow, wow, wow. And give them another chop. And they're just not allowed to do that stuff on TV.
It's probably way more fun for them to be a little loose like that.
Oh, I think it's more fun for everybody. I encourage everyone who hasn't been to a house show to get to one as soon as possible. All right, sir. It's time to wrap up the week with a little Friday Night SmackDown.
Yes, sir.
Friday Night SmackDown. And Freddie's favorite wrestler, Santos Escobar, got to be the heater in a tag match with Rey Mysterio and the Judgment Day with Sexy Boy Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And even though the Judgment Day have to win because they are not allowed to ever lose, even though I don't know who's going to ever get more over in that group than Rhea. Dom just joined. He's already more over than Damian and Finn Balor. So I know that they're going to win the match. And I know that the fall is going to be on my guy, Santos, because he can't pin Rey before Backlash, right? So even though I know all this stuff, this was my favorite match from WWE this week. Just because they're starting to let him go. He's not the guy getting beat up anymore. Rey was the guy getting beat up, and he came in with the hot tag. So you get to see what he can do offensively as a babyface. Oh my gosh, man. Because they let baby faces fly around. They don't want the heels to do that as much. They really fight hard against that, at least at WWE. So to get to see this dude do his offensive sets was just, I know I love Lucha Libre maybe more than the next guy, but god damn, man, this dude can do, he's big and strong too. He's not as small as Rey. He's got a good body and he's strong as hell, man. He did that tilt-a-whirl, blah, blam. Like he's got the strength to pull off big moves, but he can fly too. I freaking love this guy so much, man. The match was super exciting. They started the show with them. It's never going to be as exciting as when you start the show with Sheamus and Gunther and those assholes kicking the hell out of each other.
Yeah,
but I thought it was a close second.
I don't know why the Latino World Order isn't more famous. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Man.
And I know this is the right podcast to say that, but it is. They're so good, and they need like a bigger push. Yeah, like obviously nothing's ever going to be as big as when the NWO first started, right? Because it was just, you're not going to touch that
for sure.
But it should be this thing. Like, I don't know why I'm not seeing more Latino World Order shirts. Why I'm not seeing more why isn't it more popular? Also, wait, if I were
that's on what? That's on me. I'm getting us both. I'm getting us shirts.
Would it be weird if you saw a big white guy like me wearing a LWO shirt at a coffee shop? No.
I've seen white guys wear Booker T-shirts. It ain't weird.
I'm just wondering. Well, because they're like, wait, that guy's not in the LWO. I was just wondering, it's because
they'd show you love, dude.
I like that.
You got a San Diego Padres hat on, they'd show you love.
Here's a side quest actually for you.
What?
I went to Mexico for a comedy festival, and we went like a few days earlier so we could just enjoy Mexico and have a good time. We went to a lucha
you
wrestling.
love Mexico.
I do. It's my favorite country in the world. And but I was walking by one of these little vendors, and they're trying to just bank on tourists. The vendors are setting up. They got all their stuff. And I saw amongst all the generic luchador masks, there's just a ton of like nondescript, just different colors. And
I love those ones, by the way.
Or they put like a Seahawks symbol on it so that someone will go, oh, I'm getting my football team not licensed by the NFL on a luchador mask. But you know what I found at the bottom of all these tourist masks? A La Parka mask. And so I was
the one that you've worn. I've seen you wear it.
I'm buying the La Parka mask. And I'm getting drunk all over Mexico, but I'm not taking my mask off. I'm keeping it on, which nowadays you see people with masks all the time because of COVID. This is, predates COVID by 5 years. And bro, you would have thought I was the most famous celebrity in Mexico because my buddies that are with, they don't watch wrestling. They don't know who La Parka is. They don't. But I'm like riding mopeds around Mexico and I'm drinking beers out of like out of the mask. And everybody was so, because you know how the culture of Mexico is so like fun and like happy,
Yeah,
so
man.
they were like, everywhere they went, I was like, La Parka! And then like the guys were like rolling down their windows because I'm on the scooter and they're like, La Parka!
Giving you
like,
the whistle. Yeah, hell yeah.
It was so cool.
Hell yeah.
My buddy Randy doesn't know a lick about wrestling. He knows nothing, but he was like, he'll tell the story all the time. He's like, oh yeah, one time we went to Mexico and Jeff, what's the guy's name? La Parka? Like he thinks La Parka is the Rock, because like he just witnessed how well they treated me in Mexico. Well, so if you want to be a VIP in Mexico, just wear a La Parka mask. Dude's buying you tequila shots, and I mean it was pretty cool.
Nah, man, Mexican culture will always give love on wrestling and Datsuns. I'm telling you, my Datsun gets more love from Latinos than any Ferrari. They always park it right up front. I'm telling you, and every single time it's like they go, oh, my dad had one of these back in the 70s. I'm like, hell yeah, he did, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
I had no idea. I would have never guessed that one.
Brother, everywhere I go, like white people sometimes will be like, hey, nice car.
Yeah.
And black people will be like, man, what is that? Like, I don't think they like it as much.
Yeah.
But Latinos are like, dude, that's a 76 Datsun 280Z. I'm like, bro, you know exactly what it is. He's like, my dad had this car.
That's funny because I think it's a cool
time.
car, but I had no idea it was like a Latino thing at all. Or that they would even
in Southern California, it for sure is. It for sure is. I'm telling you, every security guard, every valet, my dentist who's Latino saw it was like, yo, my father had one of those.
That's amazing.
I was like, of course he did. Of course.
If I could pull off the La Parka mask, the reason I thought of that story is because in the La Parka mask, they didn't know I was a white guy. They're just, of
course,
I'm La Parka,
You were still the man, though.
We got to wear those LWO shirts. That's a new goal.
Yeah. And now, Jeff Dye's Hot Tag of the Week. Hot Tag of the Week, yeah.
The hot tag.
Thank you, Freddie. That is recorded. He does not do that live. All right, here's my hot tag. Listen, I love the Jericho Appreciation Society, and I am a guy who appreciates Chris Jericho. I appreciate everything he's done for the business. I've loved what I learned that he did in Japan. I've loved him in WCW. I loved him in WWE/WWF. I love Dark Side of the Ring. I love AEW. I appreciate Chris Jericho more than anybody. I also like all the people in the Jericho Appreciation Society. But I'm done with the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's so corny. The purple shit, the stupid suits. I love everyone in it. So if they're listening, and I know some of them, I know the Guns, I know a lot of these guys. I'm even know Jericho now. So I love you guys. But enough with this dog shit. It's tired. I don't like it. It seems weird too that they're appreciating a guy that they're in the group with. It just feels weird, corny, and I liked it at first, but now I'm done with it. It's not going over like an NWO or like any of these other stables that we've seen before. No more Jericho Appreciation Society.
And that was Jeff's Hot Tag of the Week. Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts on that.
Jeff, tell the people where you're going to be this weekend.
This weekend, I will be in Indianapolis at Helium Comedy Club. And then the week after that,
not a lot of Latinos there.
No, but the week after that, I'm in La Jolla at the Comedy Store.
Let's go.
Come on, that's where we wear the LWO shirts right there.
Let's go. That's what's up, man. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you guys always leave comments for us on the socials. You can always give us a rating. That stuff always helps. We love you guys. Appreciate you. See you next week. On behalf of Mr. Jeff Dye, peace.
We're out. Follow us on Instagram, Wrestling with Freddie. Twitter is WWFreddie Pod. Follow us on all the socials so you can submit your questions for the Federation.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.